Somewhere along the line, everybody said something like, you're not good enough as you are, you need to be different. And many times when they said it, it wasn't like your behavior isn't good enough, or maybe your practices aren't sharp enough, or whatever. They basically said, you are not good enough. And we took it in, we absorbed that, but it's like swallowing toxin. Now it resides in our system. And unless we deliberately let it go, get it out of our mind and body, there it is. It is a baseline of undeserving. One of the things we are trying to do here in this church, these days in particular, is remind you and invite you through different techniques to recognize the very awareness, the very essence of being. And not that you have got to earn it, but it's who you are at your base. That underneath all those thoughts you've had about yourself, underneath those small definitions you've had of yourself, beyond anything you have allowed yourself to recognize yourself as yet, you are the very glory of God. Sun's out, the sky is blue. I want to say that essentially the beautiful days like that, when we're walking on the face of the earth, it reminds us of the beauty. It doesn't remind us, it is the beauty that we crave as human beings. Beauty is one of the ways in which the divine shows itself, one of the ways in which we come to recognize that we're more than our thoughts, more than our singularity as a human being. When we find beauty, sufficient beauty, there's something that changes in our physiology. It's our blood pressure, etc. We become a better physical being, but I think we also become more attuned to our divine nature also. So when you see beauty, and when we see it in the world, it's an invitation for each of us to go into a place of gratitude. And gratitude is one of the things I'd like to talk to you about today. Excuse me, I got this frog, and first it was in my pocket, and this idea of gratitude is a spectacular one. I know somebody who was going for radiation therapy, and when he was going to radiation therapy, he had to prepare himself, and it took about an hour from the time he got up until the time he was going to receive the radiation. And when he was driving there, and when he was there, and when he was driving home, what he was saying was, I am so grateful for this radiation. Now, one of the things that was happening was, it was painless, more or less, just painless. The people were nice to him, the area was clean, they were efficient, and they brought him in and all that sort of stuff. But what he kept doing the whole time was going, I'm grateful, I'm grateful. Now, I'm not sure how many doctors who do a follow-up say, hey, what was it like for you? They go, I don't know, it was just great. I loved this was one of the best experiences of my life. Think how that could have gone. That person could have been saying, oh, damn, this is bad, it's so bad I have to have radiation. It's, I got to get up early. I got to go get prepared. I got to go. I got to drive. Oh, how will I find a parking space? Blah. That feeling, that state you could be in. Everything's wrong. Everything's after me. It's, this is dangerous. I hope I live. Blah, blah, blah. Or you could just take the same circumstances and go, I am so grateful this is happening. I'm so grateful that someone's attending to me, that they found it early enough that this is all they have to do. They don't have to do chemo, blah, blah, blah. All that. It could be that way. Gratitude is a secret ingredient to your happiness. Because one of the things that happens when you express gratitude over and over and over is it lifts your spirits. Now your baseline is higher than it was before. What might have knocked you down before has got a lot more work to do to get you down. It is only in a state of gratitude, I think, that you live in such a way as you were born to live. Do you know what I mean? Has not this state of existence, it's not a given. You know, we've been alive long enough. We think that being alive is a given. But what are the odds? They say when the universe was created, the odds of it being successfully a universe are so minuscule that this had to happen within a minor fraction of a something, and this had to happen, and this had to happen, and all that had to happen, or it would have canceled out and fallen apart. And it didn't. And all that was 13.2 billion years ago, and it is coming this way toward you, and something could have interrupted in the meantime. There had to be a planet that was close enough to the sun but not too close, with water, et cetera, for you to be here. And not only that, your parents had to know each other. So think, all this has come to this moment, and what we go is, yeah, life is kind of hard, it's dull. You know, I'm tired of doing what I'm doing. You know, I'm not really feeling that anymore. There was a time when I was happy. I remember that. I was chased it for a while. I got it. You know, yeah. Right? We're borderline stupid. Gratitude should be what we come for. Gratitude is what we should wake up with. I did a 45-day challenge recently. I think I've told you about this. One of the things we had to do before we got out of bed was find something to be grateful for, do forgiveness work, and pray for our own awakening and the awakening of others. That's a really good regime. I'm going to give you a few ideas today. That could be one of them. Don't get out of bed without doing your gratitude. Don't even set foot on the floor until you've said something that you're grateful for. And forgiveness is so powerful when it's joined with gratitude. Because you think about it, we're grateful for what's here and what is becoming, and maybe for some things that have happened. And the opposite of that is holding a grudge or feeling guilty or wanting to get back at someone, or a sense of guilt where you feel like you're not worthy. Those are just the opposite of gratitude. And so before you get up in the morning, I suggest that you find something to be grateful for. And you find something to say, please forgive me, or I forgive you. And you don't have to do it in person. You can do it in your bed, unless it's the person next to you. And when you do that, you begin to loosen the things that bind us to fatigue, to sorrow, to anger, to resentment, to guilt. We don't need those. You have had enough. I remember many years ago, I was at Jack Kornfield's retreat center in California. And he was going to do I was going to go do a 30-day meditation retreat with him. I had just done 30 days with the Vipassana group. And in the Vipassana group was, if it hurt, it's good. It must have been their thing was, sit on the floor. How many of us are good at that? For 11 hours a day. Don't eat but 3 meals a day. Don't talk or look at anyone. Don't read anything. Don't do yoga. And then Jack's over there, and Jack goes, well, if you sit down and it's not comfortable, get up and move it, change it. We suffer enough. And I'm not sure what the difference between the Burmese and the American culture is, but I can tell you, I agreed with Jack a lot more than we don't need to suffer from the internal whipping we do to ourselves either. Haven't we done enough? I mean, didn't it only take just a few whacks before you got it? And then there you are, feeling less about yourself, feeling unlovable, undeserving, less energized, tired, a little bit defeated. Everybody has something they can improve, yes. But let's do it from a place of an elevated sense of self, not from a diminished sense of self. So you heard it from your parents, you heard it from your teachers, you've heard it from your friends. Somewhere along the line, everybody said something like, you're not good enough as you are, you need to be different. And many times when they said it, it wasn't like your behavior isn't good enough, or maybe your practices aren't sharp enough, or whatever. They basically said, you are not good enough. Then we took it in, we absorbed that, but it's like swallowing toxin. Now it resides in our system. And unless we deliberately let it go, get it out of our mind and body, there it is. It is a baseline of undeserving. It's a baseline of less than. One of the things we are trying to do here in this church, these days in particular, is remind you and invite you through different techniques for you to recognize that you are the very God, the very awareness, the very essence of being that is the same as what we have called God in the past, the Creator, the One. You are that. And not that you have got to earn it, but it's who you are at your base. That underneath all those thoughts you've had about yourselves, underneath those small definitions you've had of yourself, beyond anything you have allowed yourself to recognize yourself as yet, you are the very glory of God, occupying a smaller space than all of it, but nonetheless the same. And that's what we keep trying to say. And if we keep saying it to you, and you keep going, well, yeah, I'm not good enough, it ain't helping. It's not helping you. It's frustrating me. Please stop. Go back to the truth of your nature. Recognize it on a daily basis. That only you, as you, can do this for yourself. No one can do that one thing for you. No one can tell you that you're okay if you won't listen. Have you ever tried that with somebody? No, you're okay. I'm telling you what, I am not. Has that worked? No one can do it for you, but you can do it. Before you get up in the morning, do a forgiveness, do a gratitude. And one more thing, affirm you will wake up to your true nature. Affirm you will recognize who you really are. Affirm that you are the one presence, one power in this place. And though it may seem so far from the truth because you have conditioned and been reconditioned and overly conditioned to think that you are not that, this is the good news. You are that. Let me ask you a question. Who do you like better to be around? The one with the whip or the one with joy? Who would you rather work with? The one with the whip or one with joy? Who would you rather make love to? The one with the whip or the one with joy? Who would you rather be around? So why not be the one you would rather be with? Qualify for that relationship that is beautiful and loving and kind with each person because you're beautiful, loving, and kind with yourself. Okay, so that's 2. Gratitude. Please remember, in the morning before you hit the floor, find something you're grateful for. And if you can, in the face of adversity, try to find something that makes that worthy of your suffering. What am I learning? What am I affording myself in the future? What am I unwinding? What is going to be better because I'm going through this? Try to find that. If you can't find it, go back to being grateful for something else. But practice gratitude. And then follow that up by practicing forgiveness for yourself, for others, for the guy that cut you off in traffic, for your father's abuse, for your failings, for your deceit, for your wimpiness when you should have been stronger. Forgive yourself. You're not going to be better holding on to that. Those are two. Now the next one is a little more subtle, but it's very, very powerful, which is to practice stillness. I would like to ask you if you know this truth. Do you know that it is your thoughts that make you miserable? Not your facts, but your thoughts. What you think about it, what you tell yourself, that's what makes you miserable. That's what makes you afraid. That's what makes you discouraged. It's your thoughts. So let's practice stillness, profound stillness. Now, the best way I know to practice stillness is to sit still. Now, if you're really good at it, you can be still inside while you're active. But let's start at the beginning. Practice stillness by sitting still and then sitting really still. Yeah, the tendency is to twitch or to move or a little stuff. Get it out of your system and then sit really still. And then your breath will be your friend when you pay attention to it. If you just pay attention to your breath, your mind will somehow go, okay, and not listening to my other thoughts. I might as well just do this. Oh, here it comes the breath in. There it goes out. Here it comes in. There it goes out. Here it goes. You can see how quiet you're getting when I just say it. Just pay attention to your breath. Now, the secret of most spiritual practices that are related to meditation is that you have to get your mind to slow down. You don't necessarily have to stop it, but get it to slow down so you're not chasing it, or it's not chasing itself, maybe might be a better way. Come to stillness, profound stillness. And something will pop up, but you come back to the stillness. This is a profound teaching. Stillness doesn't require you to go anywhere, do anything. You don't have to be in an ashram. You can be at the work. You can be waiting for the ferry or waiting. You don't have ferries here, do we? Waiting for the doctor. You can just sit in stillness. And the nervous system will calm down. Your blood pressure will go down. Your mind will slow down. It's a very interesting thing about the mind. The mind thinks it's so smart, but deep wisdom seems to arise when it goes quieter, doesn't it? And then you hear or understand, or something breaks through, a sense of empathy or a surprise insight or a new idea or clarity will happen when you've slowed that thinking process down to where something else can bubble up. Stillness. And the last thing I would like to say is quite the opposite. Many studies have been shown that if you get 20 minutes of aerobic activity of some sort, your brain gets bigger. Most of us can stand that. Your brain gets bigger. Your physiology gets better. But one other thing happens is that you become more attuned to this possibility of being in the flow. You know, being in the flow is considered like the highest form of performance. Being in the flow happens when your physiology, in other words, your body, has had enough food, enough rest, and enough exercise. When your mind is quiet enough, when the task is hard enough but not too hard, when you have skill but your skill is being tested, this is when people fall into the flow. You can imagine great athletes when that happens, or painters, or maybe it's just working at your desk and you get a lot done. The focus is there. The mind is clicked in and steady. And when you're done, you're grateful. They say flow is the most addictive state there is. More than any of the drugs, more than anything else. If you prepare yourself, I think you'll slip into this beautiful state of activity if you will be grateful, if you will forgive, if you will learn stillness, and if you will learn or practice physical activity. You'll have set yourself up for the flow state. But if the flow state never shows up, you'll at least be happier because you're grateful. You'll be less angry, less depressed because you've forgiven and feel and have forgiven others. You'll be able to concentrate because you practice stillness. And if you exercise, something beautiful will happen to your body because the body will get what it needs. So these are not like complicated things, but they're things that prepare you for profound experiences because they pull you away from the mundane and the dross of life and allow you to stand free in the space where beauty, where flow, where transcendence can happen. Now, as y'all know, next Saturday we're doing Christmas in July. We're doing this workshop on the 26th, and I'm hoping that those of you who are coming will take to heart what I said this week. I hope all of you will, but hopefully, especially because this is a good way to prepare to take a Sabbath day, which you're going to have on the 26th, on that Saturday, a Sabbath in which something new can emerge in you and for you. But if you're too busy being ungrateful or holding a grudge, or you can't concentrate, or if you can't sit still because you have excess energy, it's not going to work as well as it might. Now, Michael assures me that by the time you're done, you're going to be able to walk on water. And he says that's not all either. I'm just... So you know we're all in this together, and that's the one thing I wanted to say when I stood up here. Don't you just love having companions on the path? Isn't it just like... So let's be ready for our big debut, if you don't mind. And I really want you to practice these things. It's summertime. It's too hot to do anything else. Let us pray. Just take a breath in and find something to be grateful for. Let us take a deep breath in and forgive what needs to be forgiven. let's be really still. Steady yourself in body and mind. Can't you feel the oneness in this stillness? As the busyness drops away. Can't you just be? So we let ourselves be grateful. We forgive and ask for forgiveness. And we return often to the place that is still. And remember the words from the Bible that say, "Be still and know I am God." And so it is. Amen. I hope you got something out of today's service. We intend to bring you things that will help you in your life become more of who you want to be, give you the freedom of forgiveness and the hope of expectancy that your life will unfold in a way that brings you joy, happiness, and is a contribution to the world. If you would like to contribute to this ministry, please go to unitytriangle.org, hit the donate button, and it will lead you into an easy way of doing that. We thank you for your attention and look forward to seeing you again here.